Hey, thanks for making it to Veterans Info Tap. I'm glad you made it. Here's the headline. The 2025 Social Security COLA is a good news, bad news situation for retirees. Now, this is for retirees in the headline, but really it's Social Security recipients slash veterans disability compensation benefits, dependency indemnity compensation benefits, and so forth. So with that, hit the thumbs up, subscribe, share with a friend, all that good stuff. I really appreciate it. Let's jump into it and just get a little pulse on what's going on. We are in June. The 3 months coming in here, July, August, and September, are the months that will be utilized to calculate the COLA for 2025. The COLA is the cost of living adjustment. The cost of living adjustment is effectively a raise to the benefits in which you receive, whether it's your Social Security, like I said, or your VA disability compensation, or others that are affected by federal COLA. All right, let's jump into it. If you're a salaried worker, this is on Finance, Yahoo Finance, by the way. If you're a salaried worker, you probably find yourself getting a bit antsy toward the end of the year if that's when raises are typically announced at your workplace. Similarly, many Social Security recipients are already eager to know what their 2025 cost of living adjustment or COLA will amount to. Why, you may ask? Because it's too low every single year, so we're like, oh my gosh, I need more money. When is it going to come and how much is it going to be, right? So here we go. Social Security benefits are eligible for an annual COLA to help seniors and veterans maintain their buying power as inflation drives the cost of living upward. In 2024, the Social Security recipients saw, and veterans and spouses, their benefits increased 3.2% from the previous year, and beneficiaries might be hoping for at least an equally large boost in 2025. Unfortunately, based on the data available so far, it doesn't look like the 2025 COLA will be as generous as the 2024 version. In fact, next year COLA projection just decreased a bit from previous estimates, but that's actually not such a terrible thing. Before I go on, remember that from January essentially through last month, which was May, there has been upward progression on the estimates. It wasn't until this last report, which came out in June for May's numbers, in which it ticked down a little. Again, we're not in the final months. That starts July. July, August, September are the actual months that will be utilized. So it's hard to say where we're going to fall, but at this point, it did tick down a little. Let's read on here. The latest number in May, the Nonpartisan Senior Citizens League projected that the Social Security recipients would get a 2.66% COLA in 2025. Again, that's a projection. But more recently, the group adjusted its projection to 2.57 based on the most recent data from the Consumer Price Index, which measures changes in the cost of consumer goods and services. Social Security COLAs are calculated based on the changes of Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners and clerical workers, the CPI-W, a subset of the CPI. Now, at first, that modest but notable adjustment might seem like bad news. After all, if you're collecting Social Security, you're apt to want to see your monthly benefits rise as much as possible. Okay, I'm going to throw in that's counterintuitive because really it's based on inflation, so it's just money in and then the money goes out. And if in fact the data does show over time, take the last 25 years, and if you go, okay, this is the line of inflation, right? This is the line of inflation, and here's the line of the COLA, right? The inflation has trajected higher than COLA. So you would actually want the opposite because you're actually not getting enough to make up the difference. So you'd rather just have zero. Like, let's have no inflation and no increase would be the ideal situation. But here we are. So moving on, but do remember that a smaller Social Security COLA is an indication of a cooling inflation. So while you might be looking at a slightly less generous raise, it could also mean that you could be in line for more relief at places like the supermarket and gas station. All told, things could even out or should even out. An official COLA comes out in October, but you might want to make some changes sooner. Hence, these types of videos, right? Why do you talk about COLA when we're not even there yet? Well, because one, it's forecasting. Two, it provides some sort of a projection, something to be prepared for. You don't just jump into a war, you strategize, right? So let's move on. It's important to remember that any COLA estimate you see in the coming months is just that, a guess. Social Security's COLAs are calculated based on the third quarter of the calendar year data from the CPI-W. Since the data won't be available until October, seniors and veterans will have to wait until then for the official announcement. However, it's probably fair to plan on a smaller COLA in 2025 than what came through in 2024. And again, that's not a bad thing because it also means that inflation is easing. Of course, in an ideal world, you're not someone who's incredibly reliant on a specific COLA to make ends meet. But if you are in that boat, you might want to get strategic about your retirement finances to get in a better place. Of course, that's kind of the overall aspect, right? Is times can get tight and tough, and if you're reliant on it, that's a tough place to be. So let's move on here and wrap this up. One option to look at is downsizing, so you're spending less money on your home. Well, okay, if you're kind of hard in some areas, right? Sometimes you might be in a good situation, but I guess you could be in a situation where you don't really need that extra bedroom or what have you, and you could be renting, or maybe you even own your home and you want to sell it. Look at your tax situation. If you're 100% rated tax, if you're 100% rated veteran, you might get a tax exemption. And again, that's another important note. If you're at 80% or 90% and you can get to 100, your state county may offer a sizable reduction in your real estate taxes. You could also consider relocating to part of the country, is another suggestion here on Yahoo Finance, where your Social Security benefits are more easily stretched. Furthermore, the gig economy has really changed the face of working during retirement. So if money is tight enough that you're reliant on Social Security COLA to stay afloat, consider working a few hours a week, whether that means driving for ride-hailing services, caring for pets, or delivering food from your convenience store. If it's a great thing that Social Security benefits are eligible for COLAs every year, but there have been years where recipients got no increase after inflation declined to remain flat. So COLA is never really something you want to bank on too heavily. Yes, so that means you could get a zero. And if your financial situation is such that you do, it's time to make at least one notable change. So with that, thanks so much for watching. I appreciate you. Have a great one. And remember, if we don't take care of each other, something went wrong.